Hello everyone, Reza here. In this video, I will show you how to use the commenting feature in modern SharePoint lists in our PowerApps. We will create a chat-like experience in PowerApps by integrating with the list item comments feature. Users will be able to look at the comments for that item, post comments, and a lot more. So let's check this video out in action. In modern SharePoint lists or Microsoft lists, we have a feature that allows us to add comments per list item. Here I have a modern SharePoint list called issue tracking. If I select any specific record, notice along with the form experience, we have a section called comments. Here I can add comments specific to that list item. I type my comment, I post my comment, and this comment is now related to this item. Notice the list view now highlights that there is a comment associated with this specific item. If I click, it will show that comment. Signing in as a different user, Sarah can also see that item has a specific comment. Sarah can open the item, look at the comment. Sarah can add her own comment. And this now acts like a comment or a chat thread within the list item. We also have the option to @mention users. As an example, Sarah's @mentioning Reza, plugs in her comment and submits. When you @mention someone, they will also get a notification email. And all of this is thanks to the comments feature in modern SharePoint. Very similar to Office style commenting. You can view comments, add comments, @mention users, delete your comments, and more. Here is the sample notification email that I receive because Sarah @mentioned me for that specific item. If I click go to comment, it will directly take me to that specific item. So if I was to go to a different item, go to comment, notice the comments here are empty. I plug in my comment. Now this comment is specific to this list item. Now let's see how we can use this comments feature to create a chat-like experience in PowerApps. Here I have a PowerApp that is connected to that issue tracking list. The app has a dashboard where I can see a view of all the data in that SharePoint list. I can select a specific item and perform full CRUD operations. In this case, I'll click view. So this takes me to the view form experience where I can see the details of that specific item. This is where I would like to show the comments as well. So in this screen itself, which is my form screen, in this main container, I'll go and insert a vertical container, which I will rename to my comments container. Properties, it's a vertical container. In this container, I would like to show the comments. Now, comments is not something that's directly available for a specific item in PowerApps. To get the comments, we would have to take the advantage of the SharePoint REST API, and to do so from PowerApps, we would have to take the help of Power Automate. So in this app, I'll go to Power Automate and create a new flow. I'll create from blank I'll rename this flow to issue tracking comments. The flow trigger, I can add inputs. The first option I'll use is text. I'll call this action, and I will set this as a drop-down list of options, get, and post. I will be using the same flow to get commands as well as post a command. Next, I'll add an input of type number. This would be the item ID. When the user will be posting a command, I will need the information of the command. So I'll add another input of type text. I'll call this command. And this option, I will make it optional. A comment will only be passed when I'm posting a command. Next step, I need to get the commands. So I'll search for the action, send an HTTP request to SharePoint. I'll select this. I'll rename this action to get commands for list item. I'll connect to my SharePoint site. This will be a GET request. The URI will be _API/web/lists/get by title. Round brackets in single quotes, I need to put the exact title of my SharePoint list. /items. Under brackets, I need to put the ID of the item. That will come from dynamic content item ID /comments. So this will get the commands for that list item. And those commands is what I would like to send back to my Power App. And for that, I'll add a new step. Search for respond to a Power App. The action is called respond to a Power App or flow. I'll select this. I'll add an output of type text. I'll call it response. And here I need to send back the response that this action gives me. Now under dynamic content, the only option you will see is dynamic content body from get commands for list item. For now, I'll select this and I will go and highlight this, Control C, copy, remove this, go to expression and paste it. The @ symbol at the beginning, I'll remove that since I'm typing my own expression, which will be go and get the body of this action, which is get commands for list item. From here, $D, results. This is the JSON structure in which we will get the results, which would be an array of commands coming in from this action. And this entire formula, since I'm returning it as a string, I will typecast it as a string by using the string function. I'll click OK. I'll click Save to save my flow. This will save the flow and connect the flow in the Power App so I can trigger the flow. Now, when the user lands on the form screen, meaning on visible of the form screen, this is where I would like to go and get all the commands for the list item. And to do that, I'll use the formula set var commands. So I'm setting a variable. I need to call my flow, which is called issue tracking commands. So set the variable to issue tracking commands dot run. That's the method to run the flow. Now I need to pass the properties. First property, I'll pick get. Second property is the item ID that I can directly get from the table control on my home screen .selected.id. That's the ID of the item, comma. The last property is optional, so I don't want to pass that. So I'll just simply close the function. And if I put a dot, I get that response. That's the output property. And I will close the set function. Let's preview the app. Go back. I have an item selected. I'll click view. It leads me to the form screen. The flow has triggered. To confirm that, if I go to Power Automate and look at the flow, here is the flow that has triggered successfully. Here's the action to get the commands for that list item. If we explore its output, here is body D results that returns an array of data, and this includes all the comments. This item currently just had one comment with the text, I will test this out. This is the created date of the comment. This is the author who created the comment. So author has a name property that has the name of the person who created the comment. And the flow then responds by sending that array as a string back to PowerApp. In my PowerApp, now this variable will have all that information. And that information is what I would want to display in this container. In this container, I will insert a blank vertical gallery. The items property of this gallery will be as follows. That variable of mine, where commands, has data in the form of string, but in reality it is JSON code coming from Power Automate. So I'll first use the parse JSON function on that variable. And I know it's an array of data, so it will be tabular in nature. So I can typecast it by using the table function. So this now will give me a table of data. Within it are the comments. There's only one comment, so I can see that there's one row of data. I'll select the gallery, edit, and go and insert a text control. Here I'll try and show the name of the author, which I will get by this item.value.author.name. That's the person who has posted the comment. Now, if you want a picture of that user in the gallery, make sure the first item of the gallery is selected. I'll go and insert an image control. I'll position it right here. To get the image, I'll use the Office 365 users. For the image controls image property, I will use if not of is blank, this item.value.author.email. So if this is not blank, then you go to the Office 365 users action and pick the function user photo v2. In here, I need to pass this item.value.author.email. So notice it picked the image of the author, and all I need to do now is show the command. So for that, I'll go and insert the HTML text control. To show the actual command, this item.value.text. And that's the command for this item. Let's open the same item in SharePoint and add another command. Another command added. If I go back and again view or edit this item. Notice now I have both the comments. Here is another user, Sarah. Now if I view the item, here's Sarah's comment. You can see how easily we can get this information in PowerApps. Let's add a feature where the user can post a comment. In this comments container, I'll go and insert a text input control. This control, I'll go to properties, mode, I'll make it multi-line, appearance, I'll make it outline, placeholder text, I'll say post a comment, height, I'll make it 100, and width, I'll make it parent.width minus, let's say 50. Alignment in container, center. In the comments container, I'll add a button. This button, text, post. It's a modern button, so I can also add icons. I'll use the send icon. The post button, property, display mode. By default, it's display mode.edit. I want to change it depending upon whether a comment is entered or not in this text input control that I have renamed as txt comment. Post button's display mode property would be if is blank txt comment.value. In that case, display mode.disabled, else display mode.edit. When post is clicked on select of the button, I will want to go and call that same flow. And remember, the flow will send me back all the comments which I am storing in this variable called var_comments. So I'll do the same thing when this button is clicked, which is set that variable to my flow, which is called issue tracking comments, call its run method. This time I am posting a comment. The ID of the item will come from my home screen stable control.selected.id. Now what's that comment? Text, and its value will be txt comment.value. Close, close. Dot response. Close the function. And right after this, go ahead and reset txt comment. That's this text box. I need to post this comment. So I need to head back to my flow and edit this. Before the action get comments, I'll add an action which would be a condition. The condition will be check this input, which tells me whether it's get or post. So whatever is the name of this input parameter, I'll select that. Is this equal to post? If yes, then once again, I need to use the send an HTTP request to SharePoint action, this time to post a comment. I'll pick my SharePoint site. Method will be post. URI, exactly the same as get comments for list item. In the body, it'll be an object, property text, which I will set as the dynamic content value comment. I'll save the flow. The flow is saved. Close. It will refresh the flow connection in the Power App. And now If I view, here are all the current comments. Now I'll post a comment. Post. The flow is called. The comment goes in as Reza. Here's that comment. And if I look at that item in SharePoint, this recent comment was posted from PowerApps. Here, I have a more advanced version of that same app. Here, when I go to view an item, it loads the comments. I've styled my gallery. It also shows the date and time at which the comment was posted. Beyond that, I can post a comment, but I can also @mention someone. And this is a people picker. So let's say I want to @mention Sarah. So I pick Sarah. I plug in my command, post. This time, notice here it says @mentioned Sarah and it posts the comment. This is more complex because of the JSON structure of the response that you receive from Power Automate. But it is possible to show the @mentions plus post a comment with an @mention. And if I look at that item in SharePoint, here is that @mention. Sarah will also get the notification email. If you enjoyed this video, then do like, comment, and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thank you so much for watching.